Bayonetta 2 was kind of similar to Xenoblade X for me when it was released or around the time, in which case, I was kind of interested in it from the videos I saw, but I just never really got it released. I was never really familiar with the series, so I feel that's why I never got it because, I never played the first game, and I never really touched the character action game before. And well, after basically playing through all the DMC games and after playing Bayonetta 1 on Steam, I soon decided to just get the game. And this wasn't like a few days after, it was more like a few months after, and that was mostly just because I was thinking about what console to get on, and well, after seeing the Switch prices for the physical version being like 90 plus, I kinda just waited out for a bit. And well, I know I could have gone on the eShop, but I wanted a physical copy, and then I noticed that the physical copies weren't really going down, so I ended up just, well, getting a Wii U version that was slightly cheaper, and it was the version that, came with Bayonetta 1. And for this video, I don't really think it matters as much for which version, because I do know that the Switch version has a lot of spring drops, but to me, I'm not really extremely sensitive to that stuff, so, the Wii U version is just fine for me. But enough backstory, let's get into the actual video, and one of the things I loved is the gameplay. And it's pretty much very similar to the first game, but slightly improved, at least, from my experience, because I felt a lot of it was just smoothed out by this point. But considering the fact that the second game released 4 years after the first, I feel that's expected. But with the game itself, there's actually a new move called the Witch Strike, which is just whole spinning upwards with the weapon, and I actually really like using this move just because I think it's a really good combo style. And then there's another technique that's called the Unwind Climax. This kind of works like the Devil Trigger from Devil May Cry, where it just makes Bayonetta really powerful until meter runs out. But you still have the option for torture attacks, which I like because it had a bit more depth to the fights. Like you can maybe do a lot of AoE damage quickly, or you can still fend off the enemies one by one. I also really love the graphics in this entry as well, and while the Wii U might not be a whole lot stronger than the PS3 and Xbox 360, I still think Platinum Games made the game look amazing. It also, to me at least, feels at least slightly upgraded from Bayonetta 1 since, by this point, they really did get used to the engine. And also the game is a lot more colorful, which I love because it makes the characters and the monsters and whatever else just pop out a lot more to me, and I just love that. Like the first game, I found this entry to be pretty challenging, and of course this is with the bosses and the different monsters in the normal fights. With the latter, it's both of them just mixing different ones together and them just having their own unique fighting styles. The bosses are similar to the latter, and I also do like how they have more fights with characters more related to Bayonetta's size, because in the first game it was mostly that with Jean, and a lot of the bosses were just really giant. And even with the bigger bosses, I actually do like the fact that it's easier to like fight them, because in the first game it was kind of confusing to me, and in the second one it's just more straightforward. I also do really enjoy the different weapons in the game, and I found all of them to be pretty fun to use. And while it's a different selection from the first game, I don't think that's a big deal, because again, they're all really fun, and some of them do kind of feel weaker in their strength, but they have some nice advantages. Like the Alma, like the whip-esque weapon, has really good AoE, and the Salamandra helps keep demons alone and stunned for pretty long, because it does have long animations because it's two chainsaws. Customization, I think, is also really nice here, because you still get to pick different weapons for your arms and legs, and it's still, for me at least, worked out in the end, because I think at that point I just kind of had a good understanding of each weapon, and just it was fun seeing what combos I can do. And I know this is actually very similar to the first game, and I probably forgot to mention in that video, but I'm just gonna add that point here as well. But obviously I can't really edit that video at this point because I put it on YouTube, but whatever. And I also think the characters are nice here, the ones that were Tony and even the new ones. But considering the fact that there are not a lot of new characters here, I still don't mind, because at least whatever new characters there are, I think are still kind of interesting. And another amazing aspect has to be the OST, both old and new songs. The one that stood out to me the most was the new battle theme, Tomorrow Is Mine, and while I can't remember which are the new songs, I don't really think that matters as much, since again, they're super energetic and fun to listen to even outside of the game. And honestly, I still do think Bayonetta 2 does almost everything better than Bayonetta 1, and while I still do think Bayonetta 1 was a really great first try for a new IP, I just rather go play the second game, because again, for the most part, it just does a lot better. And even with all the praise I've been giving it, regardless, there's still going to be some issues, and one of them I had was how grindy the game is. It's pretty much the same issue I had with the first entry, where after I was completing a mission, the stuff would still be quite a lot, and I would only have enough just to get one new thing. And while you don't 100% need to get everything, it still kind of sucks, because I wish by this point they would lower it, because there were a lot of stuff I wanted to try and I really couldn't unless I I wanted to grind it out, and as a casual myself, I just didn't want to do that. So again, it's just insanely grindy for this one, and I'm not really talking about like the platinum ticket that you can get. I'm just mostly talking about like, again, the skills and the accessories and whatnot, because I do realize that that platinum ticket, I think, is your access to get Rhydon as a boss fight. So I'm not really complaining about that. It's just, everything else. And also my second dislike definitely has to be, I wish there was a lot more character interactions in this game, since you only really get to see Bayonetta and Loki most of the time. And while the Bayonetta and Loki interactions are actually pretty fun, most of the other characters just kind of get sidelined, like Luke and whatnot. And I do get that someone like Jean was kind of in a state where she couldn't do much. I just wish that after she became okay, she could have just been in a lot more scenes. And I do know that Rhydon was not really a major character in the first game, but I felt that since Jean wasn't really in a state to do anything, he could have been there a lot more. And honestly, that's pretty much all I ended up disliking about the game. I know it's pretty short. And I really don't have much complaints about this entry because, again, mostly everything I didn't like from the first entry was smoothed out by this point. Even something like the grinding is slightly annoying to me. I don't really think it makes the game any worse just because of the fact that the gameplay is fun, and in this case I don't really mind the grinding. It's just, again, I wish of course it was lowered a bit. And the character interactions, and for that, it's just a very minor point because what we do have is great. I just wish that there was more of it. And I also do know there was an extra mode. I believe it's like Bloody Palace from Devil May Cry, but I haven't really played it, so that's why I didn't really mention it. But I guess the nice part about it is that you can actually do it online and with a CPU. But I would imagine that not a lot of people are playing this online on the Wii U, so I couldn't really try that one, of course. But I can definitely say that this is one of my favorite character action games that I've ever played, and it's definitely on the top of my list. And I also want to hear what you guys ended up liking and dislike about this entry, and let me know in the comments below. And of course, before the video ends, I'll go over my own likes and dislikes. Likes: amazing gameplay, great graphics, pretty challenging, nice variety of weapons, and the customization is pretty nice, fun characters, and fantastic OST. Dislikes: game is kinda grindy and there could have been more character interactions. Thank you all for watching and see you guys later.